In a world that never seems to stop talking, a world of constant connection, notifications, and social demands, there's a quiet rebellion taking place. It's the simple, profound act of choosing to be alone. And yet, for so many, that choice is shrouded in misunderstanding. A person who genuinely enjoys their own company is often painted with a brush of sadness or social awkwardness. They're seen as lonely, shy, or withdrawn. But what if this picture is completely wrong? What if the preference for solitude isn't a social deficit, but a psychological strength? Today, we're exploring the hidden, and often profound, psychology of people who truly enjoy being alone. First, we need to draw a very clear line in the sand. Solitude is not loneliness. This is the most critical distinction. Loneliness is a painful, involuntary state. It's the distressing feeling that arises from a perceived lack of social connection, a feeling of being cut off even when you're in a crowded room. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice. It's the positive, intentional, and restorative act of stepping away from the noise to be with yourself. It's not an absence of others, but a deliberate presence with oneself. It's an active decision to disengage from immediate social demands, which grants you the freedom to think, feel, and act without external pressure. Now, it's easy to connect this idea with introversion, and there is a link. Introverts are people who recharge their energy through quiet time, while extroverts gain energy from social engagement. But the two are not identical. Research shows that introversion doesn't necessarily predict the enjoyment of solitude, just a preference for solitary activities. A stronger predictor is something called autonomous motivation, the drive to act from your own values and interests rather than from external pressure. In other words, you seek solitude because you genuinely want to, not because you feel you have to. So, what are the real benefits of embracing this chosen time alone? Far from being detrimental, healthy solitude is a powerhouse for personal well-being. One of the most significant benefits is enhanced self-awareness. When you're constantly surrounded by others, your thoughts and emotions are inevitably influenced by their expectations, opinions, and moods. Solitude strips that away. It provides a quiet space for introspection, allowing you to have an honest conversation with yourself. You can explore your values, process your emotions, and understand what truly motivates you. This process builds a stronger sense of identity and purpose. Learning to be your own best company cultivates a deep self-reliance and resilience that's hard to build anywhere else. Solitude is also a fertile ground for creativity. When you step away from constant external input, you give your mind the space to wander, to make novel connections, and to tap into your inner world. A fascinating study conducted during the COVID-19 lockdowns in France found a significant increase in everyday creativity among people who were isolated. Interestingly, the people who were less creative to begin with experienced the biggest boost. Being alone allows for what's known as deep work, the kind of focused concentration required to solve complex problems or bring an innovative idea to life. Then there's the profound impact on our emotional state. Spending time alone can have an emotional deactivation effect. It helps lower high arousal emotions like anxiety and even intense excitement, bringing you back to a state of calm. It's a chance to unwind, to de-stress, and process the events of your day without interruption. This practice is fundamental to developing better emotional regulation. You learn to sit with your feelings, understand them, and respond to life's challenges more thoughtfully instead of reactively. And finally, there's the powerful sense of freedom. A 2023 study found that participants reported feeling significantly less stressed and less controlled or pressured to behave in a certain way. Solitude gives you permission to be your most authentic self without the need for social performance. This sense of autonomy is a cornerstone of psychological well-being. What's happening in the brain when someone prefers their own company? The wiring is genuinely different. A key player is the neurotransmitter dopamine, often called the reward chemical. It gives us a buzz from external rewards like social interaction and new experiences. Extroverted brains have a high tolerance for dopamine and actively seek it out. Introverted brains, however, tend to be more sensitive to it. Too much stimulation, too much noise, too much social activity can feel overwhelming. Instead, those who enjoy solitude often find more comfort in a different neurotransmitter, acetylcholine. This chemical is linked to calm, relaxation, deep thinking, and memory. It feels good when we turn our attention inward, allowing us to concentrate, reflect, and get lost in our own thoughts. Furthermore, research indicates that people who prefer solitude often have a more active cerebral cortex, the part of the brain responsible for deep processing and planning. They're constantly taking in information and processing it deeply, which makes them reflective, but also more easily overstimulated. They simply need quiet time to sort it all out. Despite all these benefits, the societal stigma remains. People who enjoy solitude are often mislabeled as antisocial, cold, or sad. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of their social nature. They're not necessarily avoiding people, they are managing their social energy. They often prefer deep, meaningful conversations with a few close friends over small talk in a large group. They prioritize the quality of their relationships over the quantity. Psychological research actually challenges these negative stereotypes head-on. Studies suggest that individuals who genuinely enjoy their alone time tend to be less neurotic and more open-minded. They are deeply self-aware, level-headed, and loyal friends because they form connections with intention. They've spent enough time with themselves to know who they are, and they're not afraid to set boundaries to protect their energy and well-being. So, how can someone who feels anxious or bored when alone begin to cultivate a more positive relationship with solitude? The good news is that enjoying solitude is a skill you can develop. It's about learning to be a good friend to yourself. The first step is reframe your perception. Stop viewing alone time as a sign of being unwanted and start seeing it as a deliberate act of self-care, an opportunity to recharge and reconnect with your inner world. Next, schedule and protect your alone time, just as you would an important meeting or a coffee date with a friend. Carve out specific, dedicated moments in your week. It doesn't have to be a full day. It can be 15 minutes in the morning with a cup of tea and no phone, or an hour on a Sunday afternoon. Let your friends and family know this is important for you. To truly benefit, you have to disconnect digitally. Our phones are portals to constant external distraction. Put your device in another room. Turn off the notifications. True solitude requires a break from the digital crowd as well as the physical one. Then, fill that time with activities you genuinely enjoy. This isn't about being productive, it's about finding joy in your own company. Dive into a book, pick up a paintbrush or a musical instrument, go for a quiet walk in nature, cook yourself a beautiful meal. The goal is to find activities that feel restorative and engaging to you and you alone. Finally, practice introspection. This can be as simple as journaling your thoughts and feelings without judgment, or trying a few minutes of mindfulness meditation. These practices help you become comfortable with the silence and with the voice inside your own head. They teach you to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them.